So exactly what people are about to hear me perform is the exact story that's in the comic book, which you can get from my website, by the way, akalamusic.com. I know you're not supposed to advertise on the BBC, but whatever.
Now you can, I can't.
I saw it.
All right, bro.
Yes.
Are we ready for this?
We are ready.
Remember, we are streaming live on the 1Xtra website, bbc.co.uk/1Xtra. Come and watch the thing, get involved, 81199 on the text line.
Visions.
Akala is in the building. We got some exclusive stuff for you right now. You ready for this, bro?
I'm ready, bro. Ready.
Let's get it.
Last night I did a rare thing. Last night I sat down to watch television. The news burned breaches into my brain. Apparently, bombs bring democracy and some cultures benefit from the scalding of their children's flesh. The civilization spreading lobby, leaking lies, scripted as show business from murder's mouthpiece. I'm used to this fuckery. Numb now. Perhaps I am a coward or a bastard or both. My Colton calls. I laugh the awkward laugh of an arsehole who thinks this world can improve but still can't reconcile my love of humanity with my consumption of death. I change the channel and Huxley replaces Orwell. Some semblance of flesh, world famous for being famous, takes her dog for a day spa. I shit you not. Manicures and massages for dogs, pets pampered while people starve. My Colton calls again. I'm not so moral after all. I switched to the channels that once played a thing called music. You'll never guess what I saw. Champagne, fast cars, just bitches and bikinis. I mean, how did these genius directors come up with such original ideas? A rage attacks my throat, threatening to howl scorched words at the screen. I remember that I'm alone and that would be weird, so I mutter to myself instead. But no, the rage is determined to have its way. Streams of images, brutalized bodies, dead babies, reruns of televised wars, a sick Groundhog Day, eat shit soap to which I've been subjected, smoke but no mirror, circus but no bread. I snap. The cast iron teapot, the one I usually pompously pour from with my mates that like poetry and think ourselves to be sophisticated, finds my hand. The rage launches this piece of metal earth and shatters into 1,000 shards. The curtain that conceals by revealing. The telly is fucked. I breathe a sigh of satisfaction, and in an instant, I am taken again. Visions. Yeah. Visions, I'm visited by visions, hardest to describe visions. Call it my intuition, internal guide visions. We're calling them visions, but they are something more visions. I'm sure that you get them too, but do you ignore visions? Visited by visions, hardest to describe. Call it my intuition, internal guide. We're calling them visions, but they are something more. I'm sure that you get them too. Allow me to paint the picture. Though my brush don't touch no paint, still it's vivid, the lyric etched in memory. Sketched by this pen of me, inseparable like any success and the frenemies. In the 8th year of this lifetime, my comfort was disturbed by a presence not quite mine. I remember in patches, my bloody head covered in matches. How did it happen? Too young, but also playing in matches. When the bullies of my cousin's estate, they confiscated the object of every young boy's dream. I felt hatred, let them take it now. I wasn't like that, cause mommy told me early I should always fight back. So attack is what I did. Stupid little kid. How does a bigger, stronger boy deal with the punch in the ribs? He picked me up by my feet, bang my head on the streets, concrete multiple times till blood started to leak from the wound. The wound that he came from. Some old lady shouted that she knew what she would say something, so he dropped me to the floor conscious. I ain't sure if consciousness could adequately describe what I saw. Visions, visited by visions, hardest to describe. Call it my intuition, internal guide. We're calling them visions, but they are something more. I'm sure that you get them too, but do you ignore? I'm visited by visions, hardest to describe. Call it my intuition, internal guide. We're calling them visions, but they are something more. I'm sure that you get them too. Lying there with a bloody head, feeling half dead. I don't know if I blacked out or maybe I was just dreaming. Who knows the meaning, but I'll tell you the facts now. Saw me, ball kicking, off for the future Premier League with him. So clear, as if it did take place now, while I was there face down. Another thing that I couldn't make out, me on the stage, strange crowd, woke up in the hospital. My cousin told me concussion, and couple stitches in the back of my head. Said in the night and it taught me something. That day forward I started training all on my own, even days it was raining. Practice harder, even slept to my boots. Yeah, I was one of those youths. Mum got sicker, hair got thinner. Just kicked ball with men who missed dinner, but the temper also got thinner. Feeling the stress of a house without breadwinner. 1 year later I signed for West Ham without no trial. What's the next plan? Visited by visions, hardest to describe. You could call it my intuition, internal guide visions. We're calling them visions, but they are something more. Visions, I'm sure that you get them too, but that you ignore. Practice harder, even slept to my boots. Yeah, I was one of the Zeus. Mum got sicker, hair got thinner. Just kicked ball with men and missed dinner, but my temper also got thinner. Feeling the stress of a house without a breadwinner. 1 year later I signed for West Ham without no trial. What's the next plan? Hardest to describe. Call it my intuition, internal guide. Calling them visions, but they are something more. Sure that you get them too, but you ignore. Visited by visions, hardest to describe. Call it my intuition, internal guide. Calling them visions, but they are something more. Sure that you get them too, but you ignore. Visions. Yo, listen. Visions. Yo, listen. Visions. These times I still play, but I'd lost my discipline, lost my innocence. I'm right in the thick of it. Ball-head, screw face, jeans that never knew waste, all silver AV. Tim's, course they ain't laced. Gassed off a mob deep thoughts, suppress them. Cause hunger breeds aggression, not reflection on the lesson. Go get them. Was the message on the end of the phone when it was 6 man crowded in my brethren's home? There's a free meal cooking just over the road, and I was not over the road, still thinking overly cold. There lives a man of many hustles, tax free. My boy said help me get the cash and the straps free. Act free, it's a stage. This world that we play, the play get a girl to bell him to say hey. Cause when there's a chance to get laid, man's brains go out the window, brains go out the window. I'm feeling strange watching this frame from out the window. Soon as he was far enough away from the house, we ran down the stairs and took position in the garden bushes hidden. Pop the clipping, belly over the face. This cold metal we gripping in the palm of the hand. Is power in this world we live in, part of the plan is to scour my whole field of vision. I see my other brothers watching from the window. Taste the adrenaline in my mouth, cold sweat, pimples. I can hear footsteps coming like I'm surrounded. Is that really footsteps or just my heart pounding? Visited by visions, hardest to describe. Call it my intuition, internal guide. Visions. Too late. The victim bust the corner, came into the garden, got to the front door and never even saw us. I waited for the perfect moment when the door was slightly open. Ran up on his back quick and let the metal poke him. Boy took it further and clapped him with the back of the ting. Tried to push him in the yard so we could capture him, but you could not factor in. Fear is such a natural thing. Once it kicks in, you could never control the panic. And the scream he let out was so much louder than a siren. We're less than half a mile from the station. Are we facing time and make a decision? It's those definitely peers. Neighbors looking out of their windows, racing suspicion. Look back at this brother as I grabbed him by the scruff of his neck. What happens next you could never expect. As I looked into the screaming man's terrorized eyes, something happened so unusual. I could see the entire universe through his pupil. It was so beautiful, by far the clearest vision I'd had, but so confusing too. Time stopped, eternity trapped in a single second, as if everything that could be known was a single lesson. I'm guessing, cause words is not an adequate set of tools, even in the hands of the greatest master to explain it. My body disappeared and there was no rules. Every moment thought, star and explosion was contained in the iris of this man we wanted to rob, who himself was a robber too, but now both of us gods. Cause from an eye to an eye we created the world. Just as I grasped the truth, then along came hell. All I could feel was pain and murder, aiming at everything in person. I was both the killer and killed. I can't explain it further. Visions.
Wow.
It's chapters 1 to 3.
Wow.
Visions, comic book EP.
Make some noise for Ricardo in the studio. Wow. Let me tell you, that was something else, bro. It's One Extra Radio 1 Saturday Night Rap Show, Shedington season. Akala is about to jump into chapter 4 and 5 of Visions.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Yo. Visions. Yo. Listen. Visions. Then I snapped out of the vision. Couldn't remember where I was, shit took me a minute. All I could hear was sirens ringing. Why am I stood here with this pistol gripping? Brethren pulling on my shirt and screaming to run. I don't know why I should come. My legs moved anyway. Ran across the high road, back to the block. In his flat, close the blindfold. We're safe now. It's a state where you don't go. Ain't nobody gonna talk to the popo. Couple man ballets on their face, gas on their waist. Shh, ain't no tell to relate. I knew right there I was faking the pavement. I was destined for stages and pages. The inspiration that I came with, I can't explain it. You probably think I created. Come and comes through. I just conduct it, practice my then put the trust in energy. From the visions that I have seen, like a dream but a much more vivid scene. Energy from the visions that dwell in me, provide a guide as if it was a spell in me. Inevitably though, we all put them secretary. Gotta follow the path to overcome the lethargy. Done all this, kept my integrity, spat the same politics. Ooh, ain't legendary. Yeah, right. That brings us back to last night. Visions. Final chapter. Visions EP. Out next Friday. A comic book EP. Listen. Here we go. Visions. Yo. Listen. Yo. Listen. As I stared into the shattered shards of glass, I could see the past and grasp the vast entire history of the rhyming art. The last of the great griots of Timbuktu, memorized his secret history's propaganda and truth. The ones considered too important to be written, they memorized it and rhymed it the earliest form of spitting. They spat it and sang it and played it upon the core of the drums we're talking to, but some chose to ignore it. Most griots praised the ruler of few, foretold a future where the corruption that had come into the kingdom would consume it. Rejected the new religion, called it a mental prison, prophesied the worst conquerors coming and taking children. Of course they were ignored and banished to court with a sword and vanquished like all truth tellers throughout history, but they never vanished. Made it through the middle passage, Never gave up the habit, passing on the stories and traditions so that we could have it. I saw as clear as day, a griot trapped beneath the deck, buried in piss, shit and vomit up into his neck, lying shackled next to his younger sister, already dead. A rotten corpse don't even smell no more cause he has lost the sense. Still we sung the song of the warrior, giving heart to all the others trapped, rebellion ready to start. That is art, that's poems that bleed, songs mold history, the greatest gift ever given, the true mystery. Even when the drum was outlawed on the plantation, she kept beating it and singing in secret and maintaining. I could see the start of the Haitians in revolution, and what did they start it with? Invocations and music. I saw Bookman read his poem over drum. Don't we call that rapping? Calling on the ancestors to help him make it happen. I could see Congo Square in 1895 when Reconstruction was crushed in the struggle then to survive. But the drum beat and the songs was not defeated. What this created they now call jazz, but don't believe it. It's just another continuum in our tradition of our collective genius, whatever is our condition. Visions, I'm visited by visions, hardest to describe. Call it my intuition, internal guide. We're calling them visions, but they are something more. I'm sure that you get them too, but that you ignore visions. I'm visited by visions, hardest to describe. Call it my intuition, internal guide. We're calling them visions, but they are something more. Sure that you get them too. I could hear the Delta blues sung by sharecroppers, or maybe it was the Malian blues from centuries before. I could not decide, the vibe was so similar. Was seeing without eyes, my mind was the cinema. Multiple dimensions at once and a million narratives. The joy of creating when what you're facing is so harrowing. Glass showed to me this hologram hallucination, evolution of the MC from so many different nations. I could hear the barbershop quartets of street corner preachers, poets of the Harlem Renaissance, some of the greatest teachers. I saw Marcus Garvey speaking far from calmly, rhythm and passion of a general commanding half his army. I could see Cab Calloway composing dictionaries of slang, doing early versions on the moonwalk, talking to his band, Mr. Duke Ellington composing. Ella Scat and Howlin' Wolf pulled a strap on execs that tried to scam him. I could hear Memphis Mini or Rosetta Tharpe plucking the strings of guitar like it's a griot's harp. I could hear Miles or Charlie Parker coming up, but after Muhammad Ali spitting the rhyme to make us cry with laughter. I could see X-Tempo and Trinidad looking like a